experienced one of those insignificant conversations that you just don't really think much of it, but then you can't stop thinking about it and it just kind of makes you happy? I had one of those conversations today. Yesterday, I discovered that Alien Ant Farm covered the song Everything She Wants, by Wham. They covered it in 2020 and I had no idea. And I listened to it and I was like, where did this come from? And this was actually kind of good. It's like, I love the original. I love Wham. I grew up listening to Wham, a child of the 80s. So I love the original. But when I heard the cover, the cover is Alien Ant Farm. It's a little bit, it's a little bit harder. It's a little bit more like forceful, but there is something quite lovely about it. There's something about covers that I really enjoy, sometimes the artist taking a new spin on it. I text a coworker who I've actually had multiple conversations about Alien Ant Farm with this coworker. And I text him and I was like, did you know that Alien Ant Farm covered this Wham song, Everything She Wants? And he texts back, he's like, I actually don't know that song. And he knows Wham, but for some reason he just didn't know that song. Just like it happens. It's so crazy that they covered it, and I was actually like quite impressed with it. So this morning, so besides being a college professor, I work at Trader Joe's. And this morning at like 5 a.m., I was talking to this coworker. I'm like, can you like this song? And he was like, yeah, I don't know this song. So I went to Spotify and I played like a snippet of the Wham song. He's like, yeah, I just don't know this. I'm like, no, it's all good. And then I played like a snippet of the Alien Ant Farm song. And we were just like talking about the two, right? That was at 5 o'clock this morning. Then it's like 11. I am overhearing another coworker completely separate from this conversation. I overhear another coworker start singing. He's just randomly singing Everything She Wants by Wham. And I looked at him, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, are you singing Everything She Wants? He's like, yeah. He's like, I love that song. I'm like, this is crazy. Listen to this. He said at 5 o'clock this morning, me and this other coworker were talking about this song and talking about how Alien Ant Farm covered this. And he's like, Alien Ant Farm covered? And I was like, I know, but the weirdest thing is that was a conversation from 6 hours ago, completely separate before you even got to work. And now you're singing it. And then he invited another coworker and we had a whole conversation about this, and we ended up talking about a bunch of other bands from late 90s and early 2000s. And it was just this kind of really sort of insignificant, small conversation that sort of meant everything. It was just lovely. We as humans are always trying to find connection with other humans. That we're also trying to find validation. We're trying to find a human connection. And it's something that I also promote in all the classes that I teach, is creating this human connection. That we live in a world of AI and we're always on our phones. It's so important to find that human connection. It's so important to just have those, even if it's just a small conversation that lasts just a few minutes. I was talking to the other coworkers that I was like, I know that conversation might be insignificant. It might be nothing, but thank you so much for having that conversation with me. Thank you so much for being part of that. And they all understood, all the parties involved were yeah, they're that was so crazy. That was kind of awesome. And so I ask of you, what is that? Have you ever been in a scenario where it was kind of this, in the moment was this insignificant conversation, but it really wasn't insignificant, that it really kind of connected you to another human being, and you kind of felt that moment, you kind of felt that realness through just something, through an Alien Ant Farm covering a Wham song in 2020. You never know what might spark a situation. You never know what might spark a conversation. And that is one of the main reasons why I love humans.